You're listening to Together by AGCI. I'm Marissa Butterworth. I had an opportunity to chat with someone I really admire, and today I am honored to introduce you to a new friend and coworker, Andrea Leon. Andrea is our AGCI Latin America Executive Director. She is a psychologist with a background in international affairs, and she specializes in human rights and social development. She is gifted at developing public policy for vulnerable populations and is a TBRI regional trainer at Texas Christian University. More than all of that, she's a wife and a mom to two beautiful girls. Andrea is here today to talk about our Healing Hearts Sexual Violence Recovery Program. We are blessed to partner with a life-saving organization in Colombia that comes alongside children and families as they recover from this unimaginable trauma. Andrea has been a huge part of this coming to life in Colombia, and I am so excited that she is here to share more about it. Good morning, Andrea. It's so wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. And I say us as if it's more people than me, but everybody listening, we're so excited to have you here. You're coming in from Colombia, but I don't know where you are. Are you in Bogota or are you at home?
I am in Bogota right now. Actually, I'm in Pisingos.
Oh, good.
So thank you for having me. I'm super happy to have this opportunity to share not only with you, as you just said, with everybody.
Yes.
The good things are happening here.
Amazing things are happening. I'm so excited for you to share hard things too, but it's just incredible to see God at work there in Colombia. So our team that I work on recently traveled back in May out to Bogota, and we got to see you, and I had never met you. I'd been a couple times, but I always heard your name. Everybody always talked about you. You were kind of like the celebrity. So I was so excited to finally have a chance to meet you. And I mean, I warned you when we left last time. I'm like, now you're going to have to be one of my best friends. I've claimed you. And I'm like, this is how it goes. I'm sorry.
You already got it. You got
it. Besides that I'm making you be my friend. Can you just share a little bit about your role at AGCI and the work that you're doing right now?
Yeah. As you just said, it was incredible having you here, guys, especially after 2 years of COVID. Nobody has come in a while, so it was nice to be able to spend time with the team. I used to work for the ICBF, that's the Welfare Institute here in Colombia. It's how I met AGCI. And I was working in adoptions. I was the deputy of direct adoptions in Colombia.
Okay.
And I just have the chance to know that small part of AGCI. During the years and working close to AGCI and the changes, the model of care that you guys are doing, and knowing more about TBRI, I got the training. I went to the training in 2019. It's how I met the whole crew and knew more about what you were doing. So I decided to have the chance, of course, and the bless. And God has always the best for you. And they knock the door and say, would you join us? And I say, for sure. So now we are working here in Colombia to have the NGO for LATAM, not only for Colombia. We want to expand all that we are doing, and to Latin America, and leading the team. And we want to get as many institutions that we can do, providing this knowledge that we have been able to get about to understand trauma, informed care, and how kids can get a better attention, and families as well can do better for the kids. So that's what I'm doing now. We are just beginning this journey together and hoping for the best for many things that we want to do, and we have dreaming about it in the last 3 years.
I love it. I'm so excited to have you on the team. And I love that that's how you met, was at the training, and that you'd heard of us, and, We're so lucky to have you. I love that God set that up for us. I think it was a total setup.
So do I.
So
the timing was perfect. I think
it.
that's something that you always are like afraid to do, like change the job and have something that you don't know what it's gonna look. But with faith and trust, and we are just helping here to put our hands, our minds, our souls in what God is like just showing us that's what we have to do, and just follow Him and trust, and the things are gonna be very good.
Yep. That's what I think every time I'm there, I learn a little bit more, a piece of that. You guys model that so well. And I think that, I think our whole team, when we were there, that's what we left with, of like just trusting in the Lord for this and watching Him work. And obviously you guys are working hard on your end too. It's not without.
But we need that. We need help.
Yes, exactly. So why is this program so important to you personally?
Unfortunately, during the last years, we are seeing, probably not only in Colombia and other countries and all over the world, how kids are suffering, how they are like getting the worst from the adults. So the number of cases that are getting the system are going up. And not only how they were before for just neglect or sometimes domestic violence, but now we are seeing more awful things are happening to the kids. So with that in mind, there is like, not only because we have to protect the kids, of course, but something is going on in the society as well. So we need to go like and look what's happening behind all these just unfortunately situations that the kids are like having and as a community, as a society, that we must be responsible as well. So that's what drive me here, and that's the desire that we don't want to just do something because the kids need us. It's because kids need us, but in order to help them to heal, we need to do a lot of work with the adults and the caregivers as well. And I'm gonna share with you this a nice phrase from Dr. Karen Purvis, and she said, like, kids that had suffered from bad treatment, neglect, institutionalization, they have big challenges, but no, for them, for the caregivers, that we have to do what's not only possible, but even farther that in order to help them to heal and attend their needs. So I think that with that in mind, it's really important for me to see them that way, because we always have to put the effort on the kids. They have to change, they have to overcome, they have to start understanding what happened in their lives, but that's not only their job. We as our caregivers have a lot to do. So this is what is important for me, to be able to be part of this.
I love that. And I think that we're seeing that all over the world right now. With COVID, kids definitely, I think, everywhere kind of took the worst of it. Like they've been kind of the last that have been considered. And for the first time, we're seeing that caregivers are also not okay. Like everybody has to dig in, do the work on themselves so that we can care for these kids that have also been through it. And I love that that's what the work that we're doing is, that we're digging back further to see, not that we were all okay before, but to really see that we have to do that work first before we can actually do that healing work with these kids who have seen so much. And I don't think we realized going into COVID, I don't think anyone realized what this would be like, the impact it would be on our kids. So you're working on something called the sexual violence program there, and all the trauma that they're going through, all the kids. That's one of the things that's come of this, that you've seen more kids that have experienced sexual violence against them. And it's just heartbreaking. So you kind of talked a little bit about it, but why is this work specifically so important right now?
during COVID, we were able to see that idea that most of us, of course, have about that it's in their homes where actually it happens. It's with their relatives, the closest relatives. That's what happened with COVID. Mm-hmm. We in Colombia were almost the whole 2 years locked down.
Yeah.
So kids were at home. There was no way to go to school.
Locked down, like you were worse than we were. We're in the Seattle area, so we were like quarantined. You were in your, like, you couldn't go out and hang out outside, just in your home.
No, just by some hours and to buy grocery. And just one person was designated to go out. And it was like for sometimes 4 weeks. Then they open it, then they close it again. So kids were at home all the time. With whom? Unfortunately, with those that they were not treated well. They were taking advantage of them. So, but the system, how it works is that most of the cases are reported by schools, by teachers. So we didn't have that one either.
Yep.
Because they were at home. They were not a trusted person that they can come and say, hey, or not even to say, just to show that they were not feeling good and they can capture that. So for the 2019 and 2020, numbers were like stuck, but it was because they were not reporting. They were not able to get into the system. Once they open, like now numbers that we have from 21 and now the 6 months that they are just from this year, of course, they almost we passed from 39,000 cases to 50 something in general, not only for sex abuse.
Just in general. Oh,
I mean, I'm trying,
just for abuse in general.
Talking about for neglect, bad treatment, sex abuse, of course, by domestic violence, and But especially if we just go and see numbers for sex violence, it's something like impossible to explain. I mean, what's happening? What's so wrong that they can just not be safe at home, and the place that should be protect them for them, the place that or the persons they most trust the most are not being those caregivers that can provide trust or self-safetyness as well. So unfortunately, just for sex abuse, numbers went from 40,000 in 2020 to 18,000 in 2001. And now, 6 months from the years, we have more than 6,000 cases that have entered into the system. Because
just in the first 6 months of this year. Oh,
yes.
My gosh.
Yes, 6,000 kids have been reported that they have. So,
that's just heartbreaking.
That's really sad.
It really...
It's hard. It is.
It's just, I don't even know. I think that I came home from our trip back in May, and that's where I came home, and I just didn't know where to put that within myself. You know, it's unfathomable. I can't even say it. It's unfathomable that many kids have been living like that, and that we're just now seeing it, and that their safety has been taken away from them. They don't have a place to go. And how many kids still haven't been, it hasn't popped up yet that they have been being abused. The number's only going to go up, I'm assuming.
And as a woman, that it's worse because you see numbers are just girls. And 86% of the kids are girls. You just have 14 that are boys. So, and the age is between 12 and 17 or 15. So that's more like
younger.
I don't have a word to explain how that's it feel.
Yeah. I think that's
you have more of the girls are in that age.
So how many in the sexual violence program right now, how many kids are currently in it? And then how do you find out, like, how do they qualify to be in the sexual violence program? How do you go about figuring out how that works?
thanks for the support that we are receiving from AGCI and the special donors. We have 50 kids in the program.
Good.
But compared with the numbers that I just
Yes.
told you, like it looked little small, but we are grateful for at least being able to help those 50 kids. And what's happening is that once they go through a process, one more comes.
Okay.
One's left and another comes.
Okay.
And we work really close with the social worker from the state. This is a little town called Cajica. And there is in charge what we call comisario de familia.
Okay.
And they take the cases, they open it, they fill it out with the paperwork, and they intake for the what it's called reestablishment of rights.
Okay.
That's under the law to protect the child, and they have been working alongside with Pisingos. So immediately they know about the case, they just send it to start working with this amazing team that they have here at Pisingos. And not only, it probably was before that they felt that it was not worth it to go to any kind of services because they are going to be punished or blamed for something. They have received here a lot of love, care, and they have learned many things that probably as a family they haven't been able to see or to be aware of.
That breaks my heart too, that they haven't, when they get help, they're afraid that they're going to be blamed for what happened to them. And they're just little kids, obviously. But that's...
because imagine that most of the cases, if you go over and see, is that because mom decided to get with a new partner in their life. And unfortunately, most of the cases are because, or that new partner or someone from that family of the partner or someone else do something to the child. So when you know that you notice something like that happened to your child, you just blame yourself. And the guilt comes all over, and it doesn't allow you probably to see that you are the first that we are going to help to move forward and re-signify what happened before.
Yeah. It's huge work. I mean, it feels overwhelming. Even though I just was there and saw it, it just, breaks your heart over and over again. And I know just from me personally, watching you guys do that work and staying in it with them, you're doing this work day in and day out, like our family preservation partners there. And it's just such incredible, brave, work to be doing. And I know it was inspiring to me to come home and continue to tell people the story. And
if we can all see that's more that we have ahead to do with these kids instead of just staying in what happened, it helps a lot. Because for sure it's hard, and these stories, and you for sure want to do something, like you feel rage and sometimes frustrated because I say, how did it happen? But when you are able to see there is hope, that we are in charge of bringing that hope, and there is a little kid in front of you that just with those beautiful eyes, and you are sure that they deserve better. I think that actually it's what we help us to move forward, and sometimes even push the family to do it as well alongside with us.
I love it.
Because we are sure that they deserve a better future.
Yes, and it is those little eyes when they're looking up at you. It's like, okay, you got me. I'll do anything. They do deserve a better future. All of these kids deserve that. And I love that you say that. So do any particular kids stick out to you when you talk about the impact of COVID and what this has looked like in Colombia?
And this is, you're going to remember it as well because we met her. And it was Salome. She was one of the cases that came from COVID. and we were able to see her and see how precious she was.
And so tiny.
She is
So tiny.
and tiny. Yeah, she's 6 years old, and as well, just it's the whole cycle that you can see in this family. It's cycle that we have been talking about a lot. How her mom was living in not really good conditions. It was, of course, a huge need regarding to poverty, how they were living. And she had a couple at the time, and the father of the couple, the one who unfortunately had not appropriate touches with Salome. And Salome was able to tell her mom what's happening. But they were living in these conditions. I mean, they were not easy to say, just let's go to another place. Let's pay something more that we are paying now. So as soon as they were able to at least go to the Comisaría de Familia and start the process, as well, the mom had to start other process. So when they come here, what's probably the beauty of this is that they receive help in all that's like the holistic model. And see, she was able to understand not even what happened to Salome was wrong, but she as a mom was not doing well. She was using punishment with her. She was trying to be really authority, like to use a lot of power.
Yes.
But she was not close to Salome. But as well, she had another daughter. She's 21 now, and she has a baby who is 3 years old. So see, you have all these that we always have seen.
Yeah.
A mom that unfortunately is not present, a daughter that actually is already being a mom without being even capable of manage her own life. And then we have Salome, who was, I mean, this little girl that needed to help. Even she, how can she could help her mom to see what's wrong and they were not doing well. Now that they've been to the process, the mom felt really like she's empowered and she's able to understand many things that happened before that she has from her past, and how her own story has probably like drive into this new role that she was having as a mom, that unfortunately with the old ones she couldn't have, and now she can do it with Salome.
Yes.
So now she's learning how to be a better mom for her and not use just the physical punishment, and how to use words and how to understand that they have needs, and how she should be always this caregiver able to be there for her daughter. So it has been and always it happens, I have two daughters, and when you have yours and you see like a child that's similar age, and you visit them and you see how the conditions they were living, you go home and you say like, we are so blessed, and we have everything, and there are others that unfortunately don't even have the basics. And so it's not just how to help them to overcome, of course, the sex abuse, but how to help them to like break that cycle of poverty, violence, and bad manners that unfortunately they have received for many years. So now Salome is doing great. Her mom found a job.
I'm so glad.
She's working, and that's what makes probably this beautiful.
Yes,
no?
exactly.
That we have sad stories, but at the end it has always a good ending.
Yes.
Most of the time, yes. We have good endings.
Yes.
So the idea is to help them to preserve those kids. We don't want them to go away. We want them to stay with their biological families while they are able to do it.
And people can change.
They are going to be able. And people can change. People need a lot of just time to understand what's happening. And feel that they can trust, and once they can do it, they are able to change.
Yep. And that's what you see time and time again, where it does break that cycle. But it's that deep work that you have to do within their hearts to change their hearts and teach them how they weren't taught, how they weren't parented that way. They don't know how to work with their child that has gone through this, just like that. And that's what happened a lot of the times with them too.
That's why we have to honor what they have known, received. And the program as well spend many weeks just building that relationship. It's between, let's say, probably the first 6 months that they don't want to go immediately to have changes, and just they establishing that like trust and the relationship that they're creating with these families, because once they are gonna be able to trust them, they are gonna believe them before they can do it. They are gonna see them as well as other actors in the system that they wanna hear me. So what's the important of this program is that they are receiving a lot of knowledge, they are receiving a lot of care, but as well they are receiving a lot of love from the team. So it makes actually the difference. So later on they are able to go and see that I don't have to feel guilty. I have to feel is that I'm gonna be able to help my daughter, my boy, and maybe my parents as well, that everybody who is involved in this unfortunately situation that they are living.
Well, and it's so incredible because I know you're talking about like 50 kids in the program right now, but that doesn't mean it's only impacting 50 kids. It's impacting communities. It's impacting entire families, generations.
Can you imagine if we could have more?
But exactly. But I mean,
but it's how it is. It's a ripple effect. That's what is important. It's a ripple effect, and we are touching one family's life, but same they are touching theirs and then the community. So that's how we can start like seeing changes and creating this cultural change that we need.
And I think it is important. We do need more, and that comes through funding. That's what I'm working on. So we need to see this continue to grow, and we are seeing it. We just need to, get all the pieces together. But it's so cool because God is doing that on this end too, to continue to provide more funding. And I'm so, I'm passionate about it. Just seeing this continue to grow, and it is, and it's so cool to see the change, to go in and meet Salome and see this little girl that is sweet and dear and loving and kind and open, and how much work she's done and her mom's done to get to that place where she could be.
And when we met her, remember how proud she was of showing us her house. And I mean,
she sang to us. She showed us all of her toys and her work, her school.
We were able to see a happy girl, and that's what all kids deserve.
Yes, they all deserve to have that opportunity. So how long do kids typically stay within the program? Whatever, I mean, within reason. I know some are longer, some are shorter. And then how are their families impacted within that? How exactly do we work with families at that point?
It's like a 11-month process. But as you just said, it depends on the needs. Someone can take longer. But what we have seen is that we could not work just with the kids. So that's where they're bringing the family, and as well the family is receiving not only the therapeutic process, but they're like in the workshops to know more about how to connection works, what's empowering for that, what's correction as well. Especially in Colombia, for us, correction was punishment or time out or just like really the idea that authority means to be strong. So they are learning how to have balance between structure and nature. They are learning how to be a better parents for them, but as well they are learning how to understand themselves, their history, what they have already bring to the table every day. So they are working with in the therapeutic process with them, but as well this part, the community part, that they work, like gather together families, and they work really like in a way that they encourage them to be part of that.
Yes.
Not only because it's what the legal part is asking you
Yep.
to do, because of course they have to go through the process, but it's more because, hey, this is opportunity that probably you haven't had before.
Yep.
This is time for you as a family to take it seriously and do a nice insight and do better. So that's what actually takes a little, like the process sometimes when some kids that have a lot of symptoms, maybe more like behaviors that they present after what happened, and that's what they have to do a lot of work on it and teach them how to self-regulate and manage emotions and thoughts and all that. But yeah, especially that's what they see in the kids, and then the parents, they have a lot of work to do with
Yes.
guilty, shame,
Yes.
and some unfortunately disorders like anxiety, depression, alcohol. Many are and getting in that that using alcohol or other substance. So yeah, it depends, but they take care of all those aspects.
That's
in order
incredible. Yeah, it's hard to see too with kids. Of course, they're self-medicating to kind of take away the feelings that they have for a little bit. So I love that. I love hearing. I think as parents, we deal with guilt and shame for the ways that we've messed up, that all of us, at least I feel, and ways that I've done things wrong. And I've been able to apologize to my kids, but I wasn't raised like that. It's something that I've had to learn and go to my own therapy for, to figure out how to do a better job at this. And it's so inspiring to me to see these other parents. They're not bad parents. They just didn't know better. And when you see them going in and doing the work too, it's inspiring to me that you guys are loving them through that and doing the hard work to keep them together, to keep their families together. And, we've been so lucky. Do you have any other stories of parents or kids that you've seen transformation in their life?
I have, even especially that I've seen for the team, the psychologists, the social workers. They were doing things before different. They believed that probably the best way to change them was, I don't know, like something not related how we are doing it, like in relationship. So for me, seeing them to change and understand that was what it was damaging during, through relationships,
Yes.
it's gonna be healed in relationship. It's probably like, because I am a psychologist, and I know how hard it's sometimes that someone comes to you and say, okay, now you have to do this or that, or what you were doing before was not okay. Yes. And seeing the team now like ask for more, tell me, how should I say this, or just, for example, they're like using before getting into the session, they have outside signs where the child or the mom or whatever is coming can decide how we are gonna say hi to them. So do you want to hug? Do you want to high five? Do you want to jump?
Yeah.
Whatever. So they have those things outside that now it's changing the way that we relate to them.
I love that.
Now they are not sitting like before, just one desk here, separate us. No, they are sitting next to them.
Yes.
So yeah, like for me personally, it is a change a lot, like that I haven't seen before. And I see, of course, that it's hard to make those changes when you have been working for many years as a social worker, as a psychologist, and then as a parent as well, because you think that you are doing what you know.
Yep.
That's because I said so. We love to say that. I say so.
Oh, yes.
What do I have to do? Because I said so. So seeing parents, for example, that's other thing amazing that I've been able to see, how they can recognize that the way that they were raised was that way. I mean, they don't know how to do something different. We were punished. They were told that always you cannot say what you wanted. They never had voice. So how they can give voice to their children when they never had their own? So yeah, especially and as well to see that they have to understand that they are the main caregiver, and when they do that, changes we have seen later in the kids. So we have those families empowered and ready to share with others. This is possible. First time they hear about how to connect with the child, they said, we don't have time for that. We are so busy, and they don't need that. But then just to hear, for example, there is a case of mom that before she get into the house, she wait like 5 minutes and she breathe.
Wow.
And she does it, and she's like, I have to leave my problems here without getting in the house.
Wow.
So now, just to hear that, you say, okay, this is possible.
Yes.
This is possible. And I encourage everybody, not just those that are working with kids that has been part of these unfortunate situations, but for all parents, we must to try it and be more like aware and more mindful about what we are doing as a parents, and then how we relate, like connect with them, and how we relate to the situations and how we respond to those situations.
Wow. I know that's stuff I'm working on for sure. But I love that I love you sharing that before she walks in the door, she's thinking about that. She's being mindful. She's taking those steps to try to separate out, okay, this is what happened today. I'm not going to bring it in and add it to my kid's day. That's something that I need to be working on myself. I love that. Even just at my desk, that I can say, okay, I'm going to take some breaths. And then when I leave this room, I'm not going to bring my stress with me, or, heartache or anger or whatever it is that, I'm going to leave that here and go. I think there's so much wisdom and beauty in that. So, you've been doing this work for a long time, and you've seen so much. What do you hope the impact will be in the next 5 or 10 years? What do you dream as you're working on this? What do you hope for?
I wish that we could have more families that are like learning how to be a better family for those kids and to be able to see their needs, to be able to understand that they are not being bad kids, that they are just being kids, and that we as adults are the ones who have to learn how to deal with our frustrations, how to manage our emotions, and for sure I'm dreaming with a world that any child had to be like suffer from something, and they just must they must be happy and be kids, and not taking care of errands or chores at home, or taking care of their own siblings, or working, or no, they just I hope that probably all the kids receive what my kids are able to receive now. And we are not perfect, but we for sure we are doing better, and it's because we have taken the time to understand what's happening and how we are responsible. I mean, if we are able to understand what the attachment is, how important it is later in life, and for sure just be aware of that. We were born to connect, and this is why we should try to do it. Try to do it.
I love that. Yeah, that's exactly it. We were born to connect, and I love that. And it's never too late. You know, if you're a grandparent, a parent, wherever you are, it's never too late to make these changes.
Never.
And learn about, and it offers, I mean, for me, it's offered so much freedom, for, you know, at this point in my life. And I hope I'm giving my kids the tools that they don't have to do, as I also probably am causing things too as I go that I don't even realize, but I hope I'm giving them the tools to be able to work through this and be better off than I was, you know, and maybe do it earlier and have more awareness. And that's what I hope we can offer to all of these kids. That's what all these kids deserve to have.
Yeah, and as you just mentioned, when you start learning that it's good to give care, but as well receive care.
Yes.
And then you can negotiate your needs. For sure, you're gonna be independent, autonomous, and that's probably for me the best feeling that I have get so far. How to learn how to receive care.
Yes.
Because it feels good. I mean, as we like to others receive our care.
Yep.
It's hard sometimes to know or to learn or to receive
Yep.
it. But for me, if all of us can just start thinking on that, we're gonna live such a better way that we are doing now.
Yeah, it's been one of my big learnings too as an adult, because we're taught to like always pour out into other people, especially as Christian women, you know, that you always pour out into other people and do things which are not bad things, but it's that also you allow yourself to receive that love and care in return. And that's where it changes. That's where you don't become resentful or, you know, you don't, stop. You're able to continue doing those things because you're also you're taking care of yourself. You're allowing other people to come around you and support you and care for you. And I think that's the hardest. At least for me, it was hard. And it's hard to admit I needed that, you know, that I need that care.
It is.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's so powerful about what all these parents are experiencing that are also in the program, because they're letting themselves receive care that I think they were maybe told
they have never probably received it before. So
that's so powerful. So, what would you say to someone listening that's maybe thinking about helping or getting involved in this, or maybe they feel inspired after listening to this? What would you tell them to do right now?
I mean, there is always hope. There is none case that we can probably feel like there is nothing to do here. We have to always think that there are a lot to do. Sometimes it's gonna be harder. This is not something that we are gonna change because we are just part of it.
Yep.
And no one can do it by itself. It has to be a teamwork. So that's why I encourage everybody to be part of this. It's not just because AGCI wanted to do it.
Yep.
It's not just because you and I want to do it. It's because and we need to stick together in this, and we need to not quit. Because that's Dr. Cross from the TCU said that if it's not ours, who is gonna do it? So I just invite everybody who is listening to us to ask how. There is always a how.
Always a how. I love that.
That they can help us.
I love that. And that's exactly it. Like, we can't do this individually, but when we gather together as a team and dedicate ourselves to this and to making a huge impact, that's what happens. That's how the work continues. I love that. And there will be, I'll make sure to include here at the end of this some different resources and ways that people can get involved if they're interested. So keep listening if you're looking for that. We'll definitely mention that here at the end. Well, thank you so much for getting on this morning, all the way from Colombia, and I can't wait to go back. It means so much. I so admire you, and this conversation, I think, just made my entire week. It's just I love hearing from you and learning from you, and I hope everyone else that's listening enjoys it too, because you're pretty spectacular.
No, thank you.
Yes.
We are doing what we can do with all your support. So thank you very much for having me, and I hope that we keep talking.
Thanks for listening to Together by AGCI. That was AGCI's Latin America Executive Director, Andrea Leon. I walked away from our call feeling empowered and inspired, and I truly hope that you did too. If you like what you heard today, please share our podcast. You can also go on and rate and review us wherever you listen to podcasts. If you'd like to read or watch even more stories of hope or listen to more about the work that we do at AGCI, go onto our website at allgodschildren.org. Follow us on Instagram at All God's Children International. Thank you so much for listening.